Go out and touch some grass. That's what they say. Touch some grass. But at the end of the day, the people that touch grass sometimes are not that honest. And they wouldn't know reality if it slapped them in the face and punched them a couple of times. Sometimes reality is nice and precious. Other times, reality is cruel and vicious. I think today, for the most part, anyway, at least for me, it's been rather melancholy and rather non-confrontational, because there are certain things you cannot say within the society, because there are people out there who are cuckoo birds who will attack you if you say the wrong thing in their mind. And these people are, they are not objective, and they are not noble people. And what do you do with such a person? How do you resist? Well, they are rather unnoble in their thought process. And I have Joey here, who's asking me a question. But yes, there are unnoble people. You'll see them online a lot of times. They can't see beyond their nose. And they think they know everything. And there are times when you'll see them in person, and you know best to try to avoid them. My goal would be to financially cripple some of them because they're so toxic, and their views are so toxic and egocentric that I would love to economically cripple them or flee them. And if I fled them, I wouldn't want their presence around me. I'd want to build a big fat wall. Jesus Christ, turn that off. Are you coming back in? Have you behaved? Have you listened to what I've said?
Can you hear me?
You're coming in very low.
Oh, how about now?
All right, better. So I'm doing some touch grass, and right now, Joey. Yeah. I feel for the most melancholy, and I can hear myself. So, yeah, it's been rather melancholy, but there are people out there who I would want to resist, or I would want to flee. And if I fled them, I want to build a wall and make it difficult for those I fled to be around me.
I'm just going to say the feedback I got from your last show was that it sounded like it was a cry for help. I have not heard it myself.
Who said that? Who wants to slap us in the face? Give me a break. Who said such a horror? Was that what's his face? The guy.
It doesn't matter. I've got to hear it for myself, and I will be the judge of this.
A cry for help. Give me a break. No crying here. Boo-hoo. But yes, for the most part, I have it fairly easy, and I do get involved on the culture war online, and the people out there are out there in real life. They are people with real ideologies and real thought processes that are rather negative and stupid. And They seem to have a lot of control, and I would either want to resist them or flee them. And again, like I said, if I fled them, I don't want them around me, and I would make certain that they would feel uncomfortable, and I would say vicious things to them with their vile ideology if they came where I was, because a lot of times their views are failure views, and when they fail, oftentimes they flee what they started, what they made, and then they want to come around me. And that's not a good idea. Joey, do you have a response to what I say? Do you think it's a load of cockapoo? Come on and give me your best shot.
It sounds like you're looking for a fight.
You know what? Perhaps sometimes I am on an emotional scale, but on a logical scale, I'm just saying the threats that are there. Uh, they're not like all around and stuff, but they are there. And it's always good to know how to defend yourself. It's like auto insurance. You may never need it, but when you need it, you really need it.
I say if you go out looking for problems, you're going to find them. The devil is in the details, and who wants to be there?
Sometimes problems do find you. You're living in life. I mean, death is going to find us all. So, um, yeah, I mean, you can't escape life.
I guess the message should be then to live now, rather than wait and just die, or die fighting. Or die looking for fights, I should say. Nothing wrong with fighting back. There's nothing wrong with certainly protecting your property, what is rightfully yours. I don't think anything else is rightfully yours other than what your property line is. Can we even own property anymore?
I don't know if that's necessarily possible for the average man, but I primarily fight for my peace of mind.
When I say property, I'm just talking about my body.
I fight for my culture and the right to speak. And, we have this technology, we have the internet, and I want the right to be heard. And maybe that's not necessarily a right, but those who want to take it away from me, I want to give them a piece of my mind. I have that desire to give egocentrics, to expose them and give them a strong piece of my mind.
The ability to do this has gotten exponentially more difficult, I think, since we started. There's a massive flood of bullshit, and there's very little reality. It seems that nobody really cares to hear about reality anymore. And so it's become very frustrating and very limiting. And then when you add censorship on top of that, limiting even further what can be said and can't be said, it's truly limiting in a way that it was not like even 10 years ago. I think we started doing this about 11 years ago, and there's a tremendous amount of hurdles, it seems. I could be wrong, and maybe those are just mental hurdles, but there's certainly a flood of information out there. You have the ability for very young people to do what we're doing, and I don't know what they're doing. What are they up to? Well, they're just playing video games.
The young people some of them that I talk to, God, they're annoying. Some of them just, they're not aware of certain things, and they have, like I said, and I've been guilty of the same thing. They, whether they're liberal or conservative, they parrot certain things. Um, Again, I have different views, and I'll go over them later. I do have to get to work pretty soon. Joey, I want to end this show. Anything to add before we end this?
No, I think it's that was really good though.
All right. So touch some grass. Be aware of your surroundings. For the most part, you won't have to defend yourself, but it's always good to know a little bit of self-defense to the best of your ability to harm those that are trying to harm you. Anyway,
there are so many ways in which one has to defend themselves. I think you should differentiate maybe physically defending themselves. There are endless ways on a daily basis people need to defend themselves, whether it's practicing better habits when you're buying things, using your wallet to do some talking for you, so be it. Whatever it is, there's so many ways. Physical fitness, just to fight off ailment and other, getting the goblins out of the brain. It helps to exercise, and then you have like a whole other multiple layers of ways in which someone needs to defend themselves on a daily basis. But when it comes to in a physical way, I mean, I guess I could think of some ways. Practice defensive driving. Watch out. You got to. Yeah, but we're constantly defending ourselves, I guess, is the point.
That is correct, and it's always good to know like trouble and when to resist and when to flee. For the most part, it's not worth it, and it's better to flee. But there are times when you have to take a defensive stance and even take a brutal stance. There are brutal and vicious people out there. They're not that many, but sometimes they have power and control, and sometimes the best thing to do is to be perhaps like them. That's just a thought. Anyway, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and and also be on Rumble. Joey, you're chopping it up.
Rumble. Yeah, this is Transparency and Merit with Brian and Joe.
Thanks for listening.